Hey guys, this is Dennis Shapiro from SIH Capital Group. I'm here with Carl Fisher from Camaplan. I'm really excited about this presentation. One of the most common, if not the most common questions that we always get is, can we invest through a self-directed IRA? We at SIH Capital Group wrote an education series on this topic. I talked about this topic a little bit in my book, The Alternative Investment Almanac, but I wanted to get Carl here, who's an actual legitimate expert in this space, to kind of go over the pros and cons and just a general overview of investing through a self-directed. So Carl, I'll hand it over to you if you want to give a little bit of background on Camaplan and the options that the investors have.
No, I appreciate you inviting me, Dennis. I'm glad to be doing this with you, and we're always here to help your clients learn more about self-direction. And if we don't get all their questions answered today, they can come to our website at camaplan.com and set up a personal consult. So let's get started here. I'll share my screen and we'll start talking a little bit about self-directed IRAs and 401ks, one of my favorite topics. So I'll start off telling you a little bit about myself. I'm one of the founders of Camaplan. I'm the oldest of 12 children, and I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. When my mom moved there, my mom and dad moved when I was 2 years old. I then went to Cornell University in upstate New York, and after graduation, went to Kennedy Space Center and Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, and started working on the research and development of the space shuttle and then the Titan programs, and then got out of that after my dad died in 1993 and learned about self-directed IRAs. At that time, the Space Center was talking about canceling the shuttle program and going with the Russians, which I wasn't a big fan of. So I basically changed careers and started off with self-directed IRAs because I found out that they really upped my net worth without a lot of work, and I could save a lot on taxes and grow the overall net worth. So we started in our offices in Ambler, Pennsylvania. If anybody knows, my sister is the other co-founder of it, Maggie Polisano. So one of the first things I learned is what is a self-directed IRA, and there's a really page-and-a-half definition in Wikipedia for it. But basically, it's a self-directed IRA or 401k that allows you to invest in almost anything that you want except for collectibles and life insurance. So it gives you the broadest spectrum of investments out there of any type of account that's there. And could Vanguard and Schwab and Merrill do this? Yes, but they try not to. So they've built a big niche for us. And when they do it, most of their clients that they do it for have over $100 million. And there isn't any difference between this IRA and any IRA that you have with any other custodian out there, except you get to pick the assets that you want. Fidelity and Vanguard will tell you that they have self-directed IRAs, but when they tell you that, it's only self-directed in what they sell. The difference between us and them is we never suggest anything for you to buy. You will find it. If you're buying real estate, you will have to find that asset in your neighborhood or your city or anywhere else you travel. If you're going to buy a fund like Dennis has, then you'll do all the due diligence on it. We won't suggest it. We won't recommend any assets out there. You as the individual will self-direct or tell us where to buy those assets. And you'll have all the tax savings that come with either a Roth or traditional IRA or 401k, etc. So if you look at this slide here, you'll see that the Fidelity statement is talking about cash, a different fund, and a lot of times you'll see CDs or money markets up there as well. And then when you look at the Camaplan one, most of our people are buying private placements or into funds or actual real estate or secured notes. So just remember that going from a Fidelity or Schwab IRA 401k, you don't have to take all the money. You can take as much or as little as you want, and you can come to us and have alternative investments in your tax advantage plans. And the types of self-directed IRAs you can have is one I call the tax deferred IRA, right, which is traditional, your spouse, SEP, and simple IRAs. Now, Secure Act 2 is going to possibly change the fact that you'll have some Roth components or tax-free components in the SEP and simple IRAs, but those haven't been fully defined by the IRS yet. And defined benefit plans, one of my favorites, and I am biased towards it, is tax-free, right? I love the Roth IRA, I love the Roth 401k, but the best out of those is the health savings accounts, because the difference between the traditional account and the Roth is in the traditional, you get to take a deduction for what you contribute to a tax deferred plan. With the tax-free plans, you don't get to take a deduction except for the health savings account. With the health savings account, you're able to take the deduction, and then when you take the money out, it'll be tax-free when it's medical expenses. On the tax deferred plans, when you take that money out, you'll pay taxes on it at the rate at the time you take it out. So I like to try to work with the tax-free environment because it takes out the possibility of paying taxes at a higher tax bracket when I do withdraw from my IRA. But there's arguments on both sides of that. I just put that as a note that when I talk, I'm thinking tax-free. But if anybody's out there, I think you should have as many of these accounts as you can. And I think it helps your overall net worth and also building net worth and limiting taxes today. And this was something, this next chart, I like to call it the types of money that's out there. And the reason I do that is, let's say you made $100,000. How much do you get to keep out of that? And your W-2 salaries, you have to pay federal tax, which is 0 to 37% today. And depending on what state you're in, it's 0 to 10%. And then a lot of times there's local taxes. So you can actually get up to 50%. And if you're self-employed, you're going to pay 15% in Social Security and Medicare, both for you and your employer. So a lot of people always worry about their raises and their salary. And I'm just kind of like, forget about that. Spend your time on the money that makes you more money. Because every time you get a raise, your Social Security goes up, your state, federal, and local tax go up as well. So if you're at 30 or 40%, that goes out of your take-home pay when you're there. Whereas if you had done it in, let's say, the next category, passive income, such as rents, royalties, interest, dividends, 1099 type of income, then immediately you get rid of the 15% Social Security and Medicare tax, which saves you 15% right off the bat. So if your W-2 money was at 40%, you got to keep $60,000. You made the same $100,000 in rental income. you'd have 75,000 that you got to keep. And then if you did the tax deferred, like a traditional or 401k, you get to use that money for the whole period, right? So if you make 100,000, then you get to reinvest 100,000. And if you reinvest it at 10% at 100,000, you're going to make $10,000. If you reinvested your W-2 money at 60,000, you'd make $6,000. So if you do that year after year after year, you can see there's a difference there. Now, my favorite is the fourth type of money, which is tax-free, right? The Roth, the health savings account, or the educational savings account. If you make 100,000 there, then you get to keep 100,000. You'll go and you'll distribute it. Ask for a distribution from your IRA. You'll get that $100,000. On the tax-deferred IRA or the traditional IRA, you'll pay the tax at that time in distribution. So this was something that, you know, even an Ivy League education didn't talk to me about. And in my economy class, and some of the questions, they said, you know, disregard taxes. Life would be a lot different if you could disregard taxes. And I haven't seen anything where I could disregard taxes except in these tax-free accounts. And the other one I like is life insurance. I just don't like the exit strategy in the life insurance. I don't want to have to die for someone to get tax-free money. So I want people to just kind of think about this, because if you're already investing with Dennis, think about it. If this goes against your passive income, you're still paying, you know, maybe 25 to 30% tax on it, depending on what category you're in. And looking at his investments, all of them are, you have to be an accredited investor. So most accredited investors have, you know, high tax brackets. So the tax deferred and tax free account is there. And the other thing I want to talk about this is Roth IRAs. A lot of accountants still don't understand that high net income people and high net worth people can have Roth IRAs, and they can do it through a back door, and our office is happy to talk to you about that. Or you can Google it or ask AI, Chat GPT, on how to do those. But it's basically a two-step function, and it's very easy to do, and we do it all the time. So don't let tax-free because you have a high income keep you away. And also you have tax-free capabilities in the 401k. This chart I love to show people. And the reason I love it is because if you start out in an example here, and I think this started out with $30,000. I forget what the assumption was, or 50,000 is what this started out with. And it assumes you make 10% on it. And we can argue whether you make 10% or 6% or 15%, but you'll get the message from this chart. And we assumed a 30% tax bracket. The green line is the Roth component. The light blue is the tax deferred, and the dark blue is taxed accounts, as noted in the slide there. And let's just take it out to 40 years, right? Because of what we talked about, those types of money and the taxing along the way, your taxable income is saved at $748,000 is the nest egg you've created. And basically on the tax-free account, it's 2.2. And think about this, for taking 30 minutes now and doing the exact same investments, right? You could have 2.2 million versus 748,000. And the tax deferred account is, we put that at 1,500, basically taking away the taxes. If you pulled out the full 2.2 million, you'd be paying, $700,000 in taxes. So think about making the same exact investment, with Dennis, whom you trust, and then doing one in the IRA and doing one where it's taxable. At the end of this period of time, you can see that how much more money you'd have in the tax-free versus the taxable. And any financial advisor will tell you this, and they can figure out the chart and do it with you based on your actual tax bracket and how much you put in, et cetera. And this was assuming a one-time contribution of $50,000. So what does Camaplan do? Camaplan basically is like Schwab, Fidelity, and Merrill Lynch in the fact that we're a third party that opens up self-directed IRAs, right? And we're a neutral third party. We don't have any assets to sell. We don't give any advice. We only do the paperwork so that what you invest in with your tax advantage plans will be reported to the IRS, and we'll keep all those records and transactions and do that reporting. We don't want to replace any financial advisors. We don't want to replace any brokers. We want to just be part of your core team and work with your professionals and asset providers. And especially accredited investors understand that there's a lot more potential investments that are out there. We're not going to come to you with the product of the day or the product of the week. We're not going to show you any real estate. We're not going to provide different funds or private placements or notes. You'll find those from the professionals, realtors or note brokers or fund managers. So I hope everybody understands that. Feel free to call us. We'll talk to you about, what's the best way to get into self-direction. And there is no taxes and there is no penalties to move money from your existing IRA or an old 401k to Camaplan to do these types of investments. So let's talk about how easy it is and why people like doing it, right? First thing you do is you open up a Camaplan account. It's just like opening up any account at a bank or brokerage house. Second thing is you fund that account, right? There's three basic ways to fund it, right? The first one is you make your annual contribution to your IRA or your 401k. What we do a lot of is we transfer from an existing IRA, which is a very easy non-reportable to the IRS for that transfer. You fill out that paperwork, tell us who your custodian is, send in a copy of your statement, and we'll go do it for you. And then the other one is roll over from a 401k or other employer plan. If you work for the government, it might be a TSP or a 403B, and we'll do that. If it's an old employer plan, very simple to do. If it's an existing 401k or employer plan that you're there, depending on your time and what the rules of that plan is, that's what we would be guided by, and we'll help you get through that. And then the next thing, once your account's open and your money is there, you're going to choose what you're going to buy, right? Dennis has either a JV deal or a fund that you can get in, or a multitude of different investments that are available to you. Once you do that, you'll fill out the paperwork, complete our asset purchase directive, which you write down and tell us to purchase this for your IRA. We will look for your approval on each of the papers that you initial, and then we will finish the asset purchase and send the money to the borrower, the settler, the title company, or the fund manager. And at that point, you'll go online. You'll see that your cash was turned into a private placement or a fund percentage. And at that point, you'll look when you're supposed to get payments in there or anytime 24/7 and see what your account has in there as far as cash, payments coming in, or payments going out for any other reason. So it's a pretty simple process, and it gives you a lot of visibility when you're looking down the road. And obviously, we like it because of the tax savings associated with it. Will Mucker is a great guy in our office, an account executive to get a hold of. Joe Fulvio has been working with Dennis for a while now. And you can go to podcasts, webinars, and articles on our website that talk more about this. And one thing I forgot to mention is obviously a lot of you are thinking about the fees. We don't charge any fees, unlike our competitors. We don't charge any fees until you actually do a investment. So if you get your account open and your money's sitting there, there are no fees charged to you until you actually do the investment. You'll notice that on our fee sheet, when you're opening up the account, it has two different ways to select your fees, and you can change those up to a dozen times a year if one is better than the other. And if you're not sure, just call our office and we'll hook you up with the least expensive plan. But all those fees are on the fee sheet that you'll fill out when you open up your account. So Dennis, does that kind of cover what you think?
I think that and some more. So thank you, Carl, for that in-depth overview of self-directed IRAs.